I think I'm only gonna do 8 tonight. Mavericks are playing, and I'm really not ready for this day. Keep wanting to trim my beard, but it's still getting cold at night. I don't know, man. After experiencing 17 degrees, 39 feels like nothing. No, man. Like I said, now you get it. With some of the people from the northern states and cold regions out there at 54 degrees in a t-shirt and shorts. I was like, you guys don't know what cold is. I was like, I told the dude from Montana, I said, this week I've learned the difference between annoying cold and painful cold. When you drop down to the 30s, it's just annoying. It's just a cold that kind of gets to your skin a little bit. If you stay out in it too long, yeah, you probably get hypothermia, but it takes a while. When it's down in the teens, man, and the wind is blowing, the cold hurts. Gets in your bones, man. So cold that your bones feel it. I'm wearing 2 layers of warm clothing, hand warmers, and the wind's just tearing through it. It feels like I'm being sandblasted from the inside. Like, at least when you're exposed to high doses of radiation, it just feels like hot sparks. Cold, man. Cold is something completely different. Might have been talking the whole time? Probably. But what to talk about? Current events? Nah. Nah, I don't care anymore. Like I was telling somebody, I feel like I'm on a cruise ship for the damned. I guess I could talk about what I've been reading lately. The Love and Creed of Seimaki. Interesting. Still just trying to wrap my mind out of what kind of supernatural creature she was. And I have a feeling there's going to be a sequel. Four volumes about a perfect girl who's a complete. She was a sociopath. What else did I read after that? Oh, Wet Moon. God. No, man, it was like, I thought it was going to be like this slice of life thing about college girls. And then one of the girls gets stabbed, and I was like, okay. Like, this just took a weird turn. And I got to the end of volume 6, and all of a sudden they left me on a hanger, like. I was like, great, now I gotta wait for volume 7. Won't take that long. End of the year they'll have one of their sales again, and I'll get it for $2.99 or something. Now I'm reading Zombie Kid Diaries. And it was a little bit more sophisticated than I thought it would be. Still not that bad, not that well written, but I just got to see where the train wreck's headed. I guess the annoying part was they made him some kind of gamer. That might be the future. I've been reading about there are more people watching Twitch TV and more people watching Twitch TV and gaming tournaments than traditional sports. I can see how. I don't have time for video games. So what I do is there are games on my wish list and I'm like, well, let me see if I might be interested in this game. And the one I wind up doing is watching some guy get a perfect score on the game. It was like perfect, no death run or something like that, or speed runs. I wound up watching that for like 20 minutes. And it's insane, you just get caught up in it. You're just, the guy gets through a bullet hell thing without a scratch. Like, how's that even possible? You just watch him weave and dude going through a first person shooter. Picking off other gamers. Doesn't even look back to see if the body drops. He just on to the next target. Sometimes the trash talk's kind of funny too. And you can't beat the price, man. So far it's free. So far, I said. Hey. Oh, good God. Here we go. Aye, that it is.
Enjoy your day tomorrow.
All right, take care. Tomorrow. feel like she's not. She's wearing this short sleeve shirt. That's kind of what I wanted to be wearing. I didn't know quite what to wear. It's that transition between 40 degrees and 30 degrees. I just know my hands always feel it. Anyway, like I said, watching gaming videos. So far as I can tell, it's free. There aren't a lot of ads. There isn't a lot of stupid commentary. Just the game. It's kind of weird. I haven't watched a single NFL game all year. And I haven't done that. I've never done that. I've always watched at least one game, ever since I was a kid, and now it's just like this is the first year I've been watching a single game, a single snap. And I got my feel through college. I was like, college football was so good, I was like, I didn't really need the pros. Kind of mad about the way it all finished out, though. What I'm mad about is I watched Central Florida play all year. I watched all their games. I thought they were a fun, plucky team. I thought they were, you know, they deserved a shot, but whatever. College football is going to be the way it is. Did the right team win it? That's hard to say. Alabama definitely deserved another shot because of the fact that they were injured late in the year. The only positive thing that came out of all this because of the whole Alabama thing is everybody's going to have to, the best thing that can happen is a lot of people are going to have to start reevaluating the strength of schedule. Like the Pac-12 is going to have to go out of its way. Is it the Pac-12 or the Pac-10? I don't even know anymore. They're going to have to go out of their way to start inviting a lot of to make a harder non-conference games. The Pac-12 and the Pac-10 or whatever they call themselves is going to have to make an effort out of tussling with the SEC about 3 or 4 times a year. Same goes for the Big 12. Although they did do kind of that this year when they tussled with the Big 10. That was the cool thing about this year, is not a lot of cupcakes. I'd have to watch Ohio State trying to beat Akron by 63 points. But Ohio State still has to get its act together. Penn State has to get its act together. I just never can understand why they keep ranking these guys so highly and they play in the Big Ten. Kids don't want to go to Big Ten schools anymore. Cold weather, nothing to do. I don't even know if yes, XL, so you don't even know if the ladies are all that pretty in the Big Ten. That's what people don't talk about in the SEC. Nice weather, big campuses with lots of things, and with big cities with lots to do, and pretty girls. There's a reason why they keep writing songs about Southern girls. How many songs have you heard written about girls from the North Okay, so they do write stories, they do write songs about girls from the West, though, but mostly California. At least they used to. The last song I heard about California girls was written by a California girl. Guys, not so much. They're not writing about the girls anymore. Yeah, the dirty South, man, they do a good job of recruiting. Anytime you can get a dude from Hawaii, you can get a guy to leave Hawaii to go to, where do they play in Alabama? I can't even remember the name of the city now. The town. Anytime you can go from Hawaii to Alabama to play ball. I keep thinking about the guy that used to be there. What was his name? Don Shula's son. Don Shula's son back when the embarrassing days of Alabama football. He couldn't even get the local kids. They were scraping together some hard luck teams, man. Still, they produced guys like Sean Alexander, and they were producing a lot of good running backs, put it that way. Everybody's talking about how Rosa out of UCLA is gonna be a high draft pick and all this other bullshit, and I just kind of looked at him and was like, did you guys see the same games I saw? Where instead of throwing the ball away, he tried to make stuff happen, and with all these stupid turnovers. He had a bad case of Romo-itis. Like, you pass on that guy. Pun intended. Oh, the best quarterback I saw in the NFL this year, I mean in the college football ranks, was the guy that probably won't get drafted, and that was Milton out of UCF. Milton reminds me of Drew Brees. But he probably won't get nods for the same reason that Drew Brees didn't get nods. Nobody wants a short quarterback from a not so well known college. I think Drew Brees came out of Purdue, but nobody's really drafted that well out of Purdue in a while. Boilermakers, I don't know, man. They're just like teams like them in the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. They had one good season back in like the 60s. No one ever talks about them again. He was the second best quarterback you ever saw. I think Baker Mayfield is. I think he lives up to the hype. He's got a big mouth, but he's got an arm to back it up. So he's basically Sam Bradford with accuracy and an arm. Still can't figure out why. That still bugs the hell out of me, man. Why did he get drafted? Why was he in the NFL? Why does everybody think he's such a great player? Mr. Glass. Still watch football. Hell, I'm still watching basketball. And I'm watching a lousy team too. I love my Mavericks, even right now. At first they were hard to watch. It was just ugly. all beat up, a bunch of young guys. Nobody really stepping up. Dirk hobbling down the court. That's painful to watch, man. Dirk's looking like a guy who should have retired about 3 years ago, but you see the spark of an old Dirk. It looks like a light bulb that's kind of on its way out. The flicker, the brightness, and then it finally just burns out. Now they're after all that losing and baptism by fire, now they look like a plucky team. They're still losing, but man, it's always close. It's like the other team gets out of there and they're like, it's like, man, we escaped. It was that one game one night I looked at it, I said that team knew they didn't win, they just so much as they survived. It was a team they weren't even supposed to beat. It wasn't even supposed to be as close as it was. They went in there and they won off a last second shot. What was that other game they were playing? Referees were the reason that they wound up losing that game. The guys decided to swallow their whistle at a bad time. Like last week, I just can't remember which game it was now. You gotta have a short memory. Watching them get beat down by Portland, they just weren't gonna win against that team. That was a young team that had it together versus a young team that's still trying to figure it out. Right now they're playing the Rockets, and the Rockets they show you why they're a superior team. Mavericks committed 6 turnovers. Rockets hadn't committed any. I was watching all these free balls go around everywhere. Rebounds that any good team with youth could have picked up easily. Mavericks looked like they were stuck in cement. Like, for some reason they keep beating the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it's just driving the Oklahoma City Thunder crazy. They're just like, how do we keep losing to the Mavericks? Mavericks are looking at Oklahoma City like, y'all ain't nothing. Should people be scared of the Rockets? Kinda. The reason I say kinda is because I'm a guy who's lived in Texas and I've watched the Rockets. I've also watched a lot of Rocket basketball games. And there was a joke, they used to call them Choke City. Rockets do it every damn year. They look like they're going to be this great superstar team. They're going to beat everybody out. And then they just can't finish. All those painful years of watching Hakeem Olajuwon and the rest of the team go in there and just not finish. I can't remember. I think there was a while where they got it together and all of a sudden they became Clutch City. I mean, Houston does this every year. They did it for a while when they had Dwight Howard. It's like, oh, Rockets going all the way, man. And then they hit that brick wall. That brick wall named the San Antonio Spurs, or that brick wall named the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, I'm kind of a sports fanatic. Not a great one though. Didn't watch any NFL football, but I also didn't watch any baseball. Boy, I take that back. I really take that back. I watched Houston Astros. Not the whole season. I just watched the World Series. I was like, huh. And the only reason I watched it, because guess who's in the front office? Mr. Nolan Ryan, Mr. Fastball Express. After getting ditched by the Texas Rangers and that idiot John Daniels, already they got trash. Won't take long. There's a sweet karmic justice to the whole thing. Man, it don't matter what time of the day. I could be out here at 1 o'clock in the morning. I guarantee there'll still be traffic. Man, something smells good. Fried potatoes. And something else. What kind of meat entree? It's chicken? Roasted chicken? Yeah, John Daniels. Maybe if you're really nice, Johnny boy, no one will let you look at his ring. The one you failed to get. Because, you know, Saber Matrix just teaches you everything. A guy who's never played an inning of baseball is running a team. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of what I read in the history books about Robert McNamara running the Vietnam War and never having fired a shot or known what it's like to be a soldier. It's a weird stupidity that's pervasive throughout this country. It's this idea that if you use statistics and charts by themselves, you can do things. The eggheads can manage things better than the on the ground experienced people. And there's this weird disconnect. There's a guy who understands science, mathematics, and statistics. The statistics, the science, and the math don't make you an expert. They just help the expert. I mean, there are a lot of people out here right now. Anyway, sabermetrics is a tool. It's not the handyman. Number crunchers for IBM are the tool. They aren't the guys fighting the battles. And I guarantee you, everywhere that sabermetrics and statistics had a hand in helping someone out, you know, win something, it wasn't the tool itself, it was the guy using it. The right tool, the right guy, the right time. Anyway, watch the Astros. They deserved it. don't know who started all this mess. It was when Wayne Huizenga and got a couple of baseball guys in there, and they started using sabermetrics, and they put this plucky team together, the Florida Marlins. One year they bought up all these contracts and put this team together, won the championship, and then dismantled the team after that. And it was kind of a weird, surreal moment in baseball. Where it looked as if you could buy, there's a lot of assholes out here tonight. You could buy and cheaply manufacture a championship instead of growing one. You know, the Yankee strategy is kind of like a stock thing where they just go out and they buy all the blue chips and they try to get rich off of that. And every year they're in, you know, they're in the postseason. They just can't finish the deal. The Yankees are more like a speed bump than the wall that they used to be. All that money. They're in a postseason drought. Baseball. At least it was nice to see an American League team win it. Got tired of people talking about, oh, the National League is just so dominant. No, it isn't. Actually, I guess for about 5 years they had all that good pitching, man. The San Francisco Giants and the fucking Cardinals. Still mad about that, man. It's kind of cool to see the Cubs win a World Series. It's that once in a lifetime moment. I find myself rooting for the Mets too. Three sports franchises that always seem to do well at the beginning and then just tank at the end. Kansas City Chiefs, the Houston Rockets, and the New York Mets. Still laughing about that. Back in the 90s, it was every year Sports Illustrated would pick the Kansas City Chiefs to be like the guys who were going to win it all. Every year the Kansas City Chiefs would just fail to impress. I mean, on paper, yeah, they look pretty good. Had Derek Thomas and what was that quarterback they used to have that after John Elway, or not John Elway, after Joe Montana was out of there, they had another guy in there. Was it Elvis Grbac? Yeah, they honestly thought they were going to win a championship with Elvis Grbac at the helm. And they got Trent Green for a while. And now they got Alex Smith in there. Where's he gone now? Can hardly keep up with the carousel. They swap head coaches more than anything. Starting to wonder now if the Kansas City Chiefs will ever win another Super Bowl in my lifetime. Meanwhile, the Patriots. Good God, the Patriots. Am I going to be sitting here in my 60s watching 30 for 30 if ESPN's still around by then? I'm not even gonna make the joke. One day I may look it up there to be YouTube Sports, formerly ESPN. You know, bought out by, or Google buys out ESPN or something, with some weird shit in the future. I have no idea what ESPN will rebrand itself like in the next 10 or 20 years. I just don't expect them to be around the next 30. Although they are the best when it comes to their online sports video. I got Linux and their player works perfectly for me. I can use it on any device. I go to Fox Sports Go and some idiot decided to use Flash with that one. I get everything else with Flash working just fine. I can't get Fox Sports Go to work. That tells me it's not me. Fox Sports Go doesn't care. I'm like, okay, don't care. And don't be shocked when you're not around in 10 years. Especially if your idiotic television deal requires you to use Flash, something that people are desperately trying to phase out. Flash probably won't be around in another 2 years. I can't think of who the other guys are. Oh, NBC Sports. Hardly ever watch them. I mean, it has to be a hockey game that I'm really interested in. I don't watch the Olympics. That's a waste of time. I'm debating whether I want to take my... I think I'll just roll up my sleeves. Alright. Come on, fingers. Sorry, I didn't put the mittens on. It's not like we haven't been through this before, though. One more. Give me just one more. All this stuff is not enough. Give me just one more. You can always tell when it's the end of my reps here. Traffic. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I get the hint. I'm almost out of your neighborhood. 5 frozen fingers of destiny. Come on, Ann. I always love when the neighborhood dogs want to share their love with me. It's going to take at least 15 minutes for my fingers to thaw out. Hey, that's the price I pay, man. I know what this body can and can't do. What this body can't do is produce warm hands. Like I said, I came out here almost totally unprepared. I knew I needed hand warmers. It was like 42 and I said, no leggings. And I said, what do you want to wear on top? And I was like, because we're running, we're going to need a long sleeve shirt. We're also going to need a pullover for when we're walking. So I just said, fuck it, just put the pullover on. And then I'm looking at my light here. It's not that bad, is it? It's getting there. So it's almost drained. And the rule I have is no more than 2 days long of periods over an hour, so I'm pushing it. I underestimated how long it took Monday. So now I got a dimming light, not that I need a light. Only thing I got right was the battery. I take that back. I got my top part right too, because it's not that cold right now. On top. Put a knit cap on and I'm golden. It's kind of the... It's just funny. I'm the only stupid son of a bitch out here. And in the summer, in the spring I won't be, but in the summer I'll be all alone again. This house is an anomaly to me. The only thing I can think is that the guy who owns the house, or the people who are trying to sell the house, they have parties here every once in a while. I think they realize nobody's going to buy this thing. Either that or the people did buy it. I don't know. My imagination runs wild. I keep thinking that a bunch of vampires bought this place and they just hang out here. My guess is, though, it's probably some wealthy person from out of the country who didn't really care as long as they got some American real estate, and they overpaid for this house. Oh, they finished this house? Walking around places that I'm never gonna go into. So I guess it's tomorrow or Thursday or Friday. The moon is supposed to be in an eclipse state. It's supposed to be mostly blood and a blue moon. I might be out here next week catching that. It's supposed to be the 31st. I guess the light's not that bad, it's a little dimmer. Like, why weren't you talking like this yesterday? I wasn't tired yesterday. Yesterday I felt great, man. I was out there just hoofing it. And that was because on Monday we had leftover beans and rice. And I had a little smidgen of beans and we had all this leftover rice. So I just kind of mixed it up, put a little guacamole in there, put some salsa in a cornbread muffin. And lo and behold, man, my blood looked at that and said, oh my God, energy. Whereas today I'm running off of leftover tuna. There was a little smidgen of leftover tuna casserole. There was a little bit of an omelet left over that my mom had for breakfast. And then I just had a couple handfuls of corn chips. Fasting teaches you what you're made out of. What you're made out of is not much. I'm at the point now where this was easy when I was dieting, when I was a fatter man. My body had so much fat it said, yeah, you can skip a few meals. I was skipping meals for months. My body says, I don't need much. Now I'm at the point where it's like I got this little 10 and 20 pound reserve, and for some reason my body is holding on tight to this 10 and 20 pound reserve. It's saying, hey, I'm not getting rid of it. I'm not letting this go. And I'm like, why not? I was like, we got plenty of food. And it's like, yeah, we got plenty of food today. What about tomorrow? That's the kind of funny thing about the human body. It's built for tomorrow. Unfortunately, the brain of the human body, it's pretty much killed tomorrow. Like I was saying to that guy on the internet, we were talking about it and how the end of human civilization won't come because of aliens from outer space or anything like that. Our stupidity is killing us. Guys can come up with all kinds of stats and everything. Well, the guys say you're entitled to your opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. Apparently he got that wrong. Oh, it's not as bad as they say it is. chances are it's worse. Oh, we'll find a solution to that. I was like, who's this we stuff? One guy gets bored, does it on a whim. He just happens to be attached to a guy who can sell popsicle, ketchup popsicles to a woman in white gloves. And lo and behold, we got this. We were saved by random a curious genius and a greedy huckster. Is that always the way you want humanity to be saved? Is that what America is? We have a genius come up with it, and we have a huckster sell it. That's how we got socialism. The small doses that we use here. Is socialism bad? Let me tell you this. This is not my opinion, this is fact. All forms of government are bad. They're all just systems. Everyone wants to talk about capitalism, the greatest thing. Democracy is the greatest thing. Republicanism is the greatest thing. All these systems are bullshit. Because every one of them has a flaw. Not the same flaw, mind you, but they still have flaws. One thing I guess they could all share in common. Sometimes people think that that the system can replace good old-fashioned human compassion, and it can't. It's the only thing a lot of times that keeps us going. It's just one person helps out another person. Now, if these people running around where the system looks like it's working, but the system depends on something that wasn't built into it. In fact, a lot of the systems think the opposite. They think we're all just a bunch of raving sociopaths running around for our own gains. That's not entirely accurate. You're right, we all have a degree of sociopathy and psychopathy. I get it, we're all selfish. We're all kind of selfish, we're all kind of vain. Some people are a little high, they're off the meter. I never think of it in terms of good or evil. I always think of it as terms of compassion and selfishness. Trying to find that right blend at the right time. So you could say you're a socialist, and everybody will come up with ways that your system doesn't work. And yet in other countries it's working. You're a capitalist, and everybody says capitalism doesn't work. And in some places, it's working. I don't think communism works. I don't think communism works because no one's ever implemented pure communism. It's always been like dictatorships and totalitarian governments masquerading as communist countries. From what I summarized from communism, all it is labor groups run the country. People say that doesn't work, but for years, Teamsters are pretty much running this country. AFL and CIO. And lo and behold, what happens to all core communist organizations? A totalitarian, cruel dictatorship comes rolling in there and corrupts the hell out of it. In that case, it was the mob. Will labor ever make a comeback? I don't know. I'd like to think so, but all I can think about right now is the fact that in 30 years we won't have chocolate, 50 years you won't have coffee, and in 70 years you won't have a lot of the beachfront property that everybody's living in. It's going to start shrinking. So the real estate market is tight now. Imagine 70 years it's going to be even tighter. Right now people overpay for good property. In the future they'll be killing for it. it's hard for me to sit there and think about government reforms when there may not even be human beings to administer government. Now, there's a lot of people just walking around like this, man. Like, yeah, well, there's no future. And I don't know why the news media hadn't caught up on it. The malaise, the apathy, what's causing it is that there's no reason to prepare for a new future if you don't think you're going to have one. Right now their obsession is Trump this and Trump that, and I was like, I don't give a damn about Trump. Trump's not the problem. Trump's just part of the problem. The problem is about 4 billion people and growing. You know, the Bible is always a good written history of this too, where the Israelites would start to get complacent and they said, okay, we don't have to follow God anymore. The guy that brought us here, the guy that gave us all our ideas, yeah, well, thank you for your help, but we don't need you anymore. And they would start doing their own thing, or they would start doing the things that other countries are doing. And these other countries were lost. For whatever reason, people are always people are always copy bad ideas. That's the reason why we got the smart car. And the Bible will write the story as they didn't do what I was telling them to do, and this is why they fell into ruin. Along come the Amalekites and the Hittites and the Pharisees, and not the Pharisees, the Philistines. All these groups would show up, and then they would hand the Israelites their lunch. That's why everybody's talking about a West Wall and not a West Temple. You're sitting there saying, so what are you saying? Is everybody should be following what God tells them? No. I'm saying that, I guess in the modern era, science became our new God. And like those stories in the Old Testament, people said, thank you science for getting us this far, thank you for helping us out, but we don't need you anymore. We're going to follow what other people tell us. Other people basically being like the false scientists and whoever's trying to control the narrative. Like I said, I got a media obsessed with Donald Trump. I was like, I don't care about Donald Trump. That Donald Trump situation will take care of itself. Trump's basically a bad rash. And the problem with bad rash is that you keep scratching at it, yeah, you're going to keep having it. If you leave the rash alone, you just keep following the right medical procedures, the rash will eventually go away. America ate something it wasn't supposed to, and now it's broken out in a bad rash. Well, that light died quick. Well, I guess it's on blank mode now. Alright though, I'm almost to the Almost back to the ghetto. It's not that bad, but it may not be that bad, but where I live is still depressing. It could be worse, and it has been worse. I just get tired of looking out the window and wondering who these roughnecks are that wander around it. What roughneck is staying with what neighbor? Got cameras on the house. One point seriously considering, still kind of considering buying a gun. I'm like, what's the point? I buy a gun, I'm never going to use it. Like I said, I can only buy things that I think that make sense of me using. I've used insurance, that's why I got insurance. There's so many rules and regulations involving guns. People say, oh, there's not enough gun laws. It's like, actually, you shoot somebody, it's pretty clear. The only reason why this stuff hadn't been enforced is our beautiful trial by jury system. I guess I could get a gun now. I'm just saying that me with a gun, I don't trust myself with a gun. I don't like the dark places I'm going in my mind about human life, especially my own. I think the last thing I need is a tool for killing. Like a knife is different. A knife is just a tool for cutting, but eventually you can use it as a tool for murder. A gun only has one purpose. That gun's it's a hammer, knife. It's a tool that's specifically designed a lot of assholes out here today. Yeah, boy, there's a lot of assholes out here every day. And if we get Amazon, it's gonna be even worse. Anyway, gun specifically designed to destroy the human body. Not wound, destroy. The day mankind started putting rifled bullets into things was the day that the human body was going to be destroyed by a gun. You know, musket ball and stuff like that, it kind of gets lodged in there and it wounds people. Infection sets in, and the infection winds up killing people. But a rifled bullet, it destroys. It goes in there and shatters bone, completely eviscerates arteries and veins. It only has one purpose. I have to protect myself from other people by destroying them. Weird, huh? Yeah. Like nobody's working on phasers, you know? I'd buy a phaser. It'd be like, well, they come out with phasers tomorrow. Cool. I'd be walking around right now with a phaser. A little keychain looking one that Kirk would always take off the top of the Mark V. The one that bum grabbed and pointed toward himself and wound up vaporizing himself. Was that Time Zero, or it was one of the time traveling episodes of Star Trek. The little pocket phaser falls out of I can't remember if it was Spock or Kirk that dropped the phaser. You know, some guy got eliminated from the timeline, but he was a bum, so nobody cared. It was like, wait a minute, how do we know he was always going to be a bum? I look at this country though, and I think it impossible. I think it impossible to think that there would be a day where there would be no homeless. And once again, the sites are, everybody's on the internet talking about Europe like this Europe and Canada. Like there are these great places where, oh no, we've almost eliminated poverty. And you're like, what? How'd you do that? People pay almost 50% of their wages in taxes. It's like, oh, okay. Are you satisfied with the level of government you've received today? Like, I know where the homeless guys are going to be tonight. They're going to be all along Harry Hines, trying to beat themselves up to get into to have a warm place to sleep tonight. They're going to be over 24-hour fitness with me. They're going to be sleeping in random parking lots in their cars. That's one thing as a night owl, man. I see it all day long. It's like, no, you know, everybody can tell me all their little factoids, but oh, it's not, the homeless problem is not that bad. And I can call bullshit on it. It's like, okay, so you're just quoting what they told you on Fox News, right? You don't see what I see. I said, let me take you to 7-Eleven around 3 a.m. The public library. Jesus once said, you'll always have the poor. I always think about that. I don't remember much about the books of the Bible. I remember that one phrase he made, though. You will always have the poor. And it's been one of those phrases that was written in the Bible, and I have no way to refute it. Like, I've been studying that. That's all I think about a lot of times. Not all I think about, but every once in a while I keep hearkening back to that. Here's the Son of God saying in a book, like the bringer of all hope is saying at one point, you're always going to have the poor. Like, what? We're not going to fix that? You're not going to fix that? No. I can have 50 pastors tomorrow telling me, oh, that's what he meant. This is what he meant by that. But just that he made the phrase. He said the phrase. You will always have the poor. Was it a mistranslation? Did he mean to say something else? Did he mean the poor in spirit? Did he really mean the financial poor? Did he mean that mankind would never solve this problem? You will always have the poor. Do Christians use it as an excuse not to help out? Or help out in their own sick little way? The guy's starving. He says, "Well, you want help? You gotta get help our way." And you're like, "Okay." Help with strings. That's the complaint of a lot of the poor people. I see you in that hole, but I'll help you out. But you got to do these things first. What? Just help me out of the hole. No. If I try to help you out of the hole, you'll just wind up back in it again. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure that I got in that hole one time. I don't want to go back in. Not like I'm actively trying to go into holes. I go in quarter, that's like the biggest debate. They're the biggest debates. What are we going to do about the poor? Reading stories about two-thirds of the people in America can't survive a $50 emergency. I was like, is that wondering if that's true or not? Then again, seeing it firsthand also. $50 emergency. What's a $50 emergency? The car breaks down and you can't get it towed. There's no such thing as a $50 medical emergency, though. $50 won't even get you an aspirin in a hospital. But the only people paying $50, I guess, are guys in valet parking. Or parking, period. You park your car for about $50. Everyone sits there and says, we got to do something about runaway costs in medicine. Everyone says we got to do something about runaway costs. And I was like, in the entire history of the United States, no one has ever given back the money that they overcharge people for. That's not entirely accurate, but still. They have a hard time giving away ill-gotten gain. Makes me think of an episode of The Simpsons where the town and the mayor had bilked the Hollywood people out of all of their money to make the Radioactive Man movie. And the guy said, I feel so bad. And he goes, should we give back the money? No. He didn't even hesitate. We still got a lot of assholes out here. But I thought to myself, Matt Groening and all those guys, they know America, man. That whole scene solidified, or it was a great example of what's wrong. You cheated somebody of your money, they make you feel bad, you don't get the money back. It's like, oh, I feel so bad right now. Do we get back the money? No. No? No, we stole it fair and square. If you have wronged someone, do not refund the money. Give them tax breaks instead. They may not have money to pay taxes, but at least they have the breaks if they ever do. I always thought that was a cruel answer by the government. It's like, well, I want to put solar panels in my house and save the environment. We can give you a tax credit for that. I was like, but I don't have the money for the solar panels. And they said, well, whenever you get it, we got tax credits for you. I go, okay, thank you. And that's why I don't care about either party. Like both parties are about the same. All the stuff that they're offering, all the programs they come up with, they all benefit people who make like over $50,000. Somewhere in their head, they think that someone who's poor makes about $100,000 a year. And you're just like, no, it goes way lower than that, man. We'll grow more, we'll pay more money for farmers to grow certain crops. Yeah, but the certain crops are for people who go shopping at Whole Foods who can afford that kind of shit. We'll give vouchers to people who go to school. Vouchers are great if you've got the rest of the money, but if you don't have any, we'll give you a tax break on medical insurance and these kind of plans and this kind of blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, no. Even if you're rich, it still doesn't help out that much. So what is the American government to me? It's out of touch. That's why they're having a hard time finding guys to volunteer for the military. And even if the guys they get, they can't necessarily use them. That's why there's just malaise and apathy. If you don't look like you care about these people, they don't care about you. There's a lot of assholes out here. I'm thinking it's like 10:30. And I, like I said, I'm going to keep complaining about it because it's just, this city used to shut down right around 9. And now I come out here, man, and